On January 1st, the Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic. Right now it's a sunny day and the weather promises to be quite cool on New Year's Day when the Bruins and the Montreal Canadiens play here in the Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic at Gillette Stadium. Bruins and Canadiens, for Bruins fans, I know Bruins Canadiens doesn't get any better than that. Now these historic franchises, the Bruins and the Canadiens, and this great event will of course add to the history of this facility, which has seen sellout crowds for Patriots football, college football, and all manner of events. History includes hosting 5 AFC championship games, 3 of the last 4, home to 3 Super Bowl championship banners, with a 4th one going up this September. Now, since the matchup between the Bruins and Canadiens was announced, fans across New England have been talking about this game with great anticipation. As I said, for Bruins fans, a game against the Canadiens doesn't get any better than that. Now, just 5 short months until the NHL plays on ice in this stadium, in this home of champions. Here's a short video that will serve as a preview of sorts of what is to come in front of close to 70,000 fans.
Hockey at its essence. Purity, both invigorating and unforgiving. From frozen ponds and backyard rinks, a unique tradition was born. An event like no other, held on the world's greatest stages. A natural setting for an unforgettable experience.
The game on his stick. Score! Penguins win! That's it. He's put for the fifth, and he's goal! What a goal! Bergeron nicely able to step away. And they score!
The Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic, a New Year's tradition.
It's the NHL's most enduring, intriguing, and intense rivalry.
This is unbelievable.
Few rivalries in any sport can match the history and passion of Bruins Canadiens.
He's in. He scores! Cam Neely! Orton, the drive, score! The Bruins knock out Montreal! Travis Arena! Oh, what a play by Christ!
It's a rivalry going back quite a long time, so they always seem to bring out the best in us.
Subban, fire, scores!
You know, to play outside, it's different. I really enjoyed my Heritage Classic in Calgary.
Bergeron to the slot out of Marchand. Back to Bergeron, score!
It's such a big rivalry in the history of both teams. Any matchup against them is always fun to be part of.
Attempts here and a safety by Rapp.
2010, that was definitely a highlight of my career for sure. To be the Winter Classic, to be Foxborough, definitely something special.
The Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic. The New Year's tradition is coming to Gillette Stadium.
All right. I can't skate a lick, but I love to watch those that can play the game with toughness, intelligence, and great skating ability. I'd like to introduce the folks on stage here. Please hold your applause until everyone is introduced. And I'll begin. To my immediate left, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman, New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft, Delaware North Chairman and Boston Bruins owner Jeremy Jacobs, Boston Bruins CEO Charlie Jacobs, Montreal Canadiens owner, President, and CEO Jeff Molson, NHL COO John Collins, Bridgestone Vice President of Sports and Events Phil Pacey, NHLPA Division Representative Steve Webb. From the Boston Bruins, General Manager Don Sweeney, Bruins President Cam Neely, Bruins great and Hall of Fame member of the Hockey Hall of Fame Ray Bourque, current Bruin players Patrice Bergeron, Torrey Krug, Jimmy Hayes, Montreal Canadien player Brian Flynn, Montreal Canadien great and Hockey Hall of Fame member Yvon Cournoyer, and Montreal Canadien general manager Marc Bergevin. For today's event, we're going to hear a few words from our special guests, and after letting you know who's here, we'll go to our first guest speaker, who will have some very timely and relatively short remarks because it's a very hot day. But I know how excited he is to know that the Bruins and Canadiens will be playing a game here on January 1st. The Commissioner of the National Hockey League, Mr. Gary Bettman.
Thank you, Gil. Good afternoon, everyone. It's 90-plus degrees. We're in a football stadium. Patriots are reporting to camp today, defending Super Bowl champions. A little bit of news around the Patriots today, and we're here to talk hockey. Doesn't get any better than that. So when you think about sports franchises with traditions of excellence and success, the Boston Bruins, the Montreal Canadiens, and the New England Patriots would have to rank at the top of any list. When you think about rivalries that perfectly summarize the excitement and passion of NHL hockey, the enduring legacy of the Bruins and Canadiens would merit lofty status as well. The 2016 NHL Bridgestone Winter Classic will be the 910th regular season or playoff meeting between these two clubs. It will be the first one, however, outdoors. After all the years and all the games between these two teams, the Bruins and the Canadiens will add to the legend of their competition in a unique way, and we couldn't be happier that our third Winter Classic between original six teams will take place at this outstanding stadium, Gillette Stadium, the home of the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. Through their combined 34 Stanley Cup and Super Bowl titles, the Patriots, the Bruins, and the Canadiens all have been dominant in their respective sports. The majesty of their accomplishments set against this spectacular backdrop promises a truly memorable New Year's Day for 2016 and a truly special celebration for our sport. And in recognition of the 9 decades of competition between these two teams, the Bruins and the Canadiens, an alumni game will take place on December 31st. And our ever-popular Spectator Plaza will offer the opportunity to enhance the Winter Classic experience. And all-access programming leading up to the Winter Classic will be an essential part of this event again. Of course, events of this scale require the support of lots of people, a few of whom I want to specifically thank here. Thanks first to Bridgestone and Phil Pacey. I am truly delighted to announce today that the NHL and Bridgestone will be extending their partnership for the next 5 years, with Bridgestone remaining the official tire of the National Hockey League and continuing as title sponsor of this great event. Thanks to our broadcasters, NBC, Rogers Sportsnet, and TVA Sports, who do an outstanding job of bringing the sights and sounds of the 2016 Bridgestone Winter Classic to the viewing audiences in the United States and Canada. Thanks, of course, to the Bruins organization, Jeremy Jacobs, Charlie Jacobs, Cam Neely, Don Sweeney, and the Bruins players, and to the Canadiens, Jeff Molson, Marc Bergevin, and the Canadiens players as well. I also want to thank Don Fear and the NHL Players Association for their cooperation in making these outdoor events possible. And finally, I want to thank Robert Kraft, Jonathan Kraft, and the New England Patriots for agreeing to share their magnificent home with us. We do not take lightly the fact that they have invited us to play here. The first time the Canadiens and Bruins ever played, the date was December 8th, 1924. The venue was the Boston Arena, now known as Matthews Arena, North America's oldest indoor hockey arena. The Canadians rallied for a 4-3 victory that night in what referee Jerry Laflamme termed, in the score sheet for that game, which I happen to have a copy with me, he termed the game a very fine game. And those were his remarks on the score sheet. We all know that with these teams and this stadium, we will have another very fine game on January 1st, 2016 at the Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic. I hope to see you all here. And now it's a distinct pleasure to introduce our host for the 2016 Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic, who promised me it would be at least 60 degrees cooler on New Year's Day, Robert Kraft.
Thank you, Commissioner Bettman. I must just tell you, it's an honor to be in the same category as these two franchises, the Bruins and Canadians. What'd you say, 34? 34?
With everybody.
So that means 30. I'm good at math. That's pretty cool. Well, it's my pleasure to welcome everybody here to Gillette Stadium. Thank you so much for coming on this day. And in addition to thanking Commissioner Bettman, I'd like to also thank Chief Operating Officer John Collins and NHL Senior Vice President of Events Don Renzulli for selecting this venue for the Winter Classic this year. I also want to thank my good friends Jeremy Jacobs, Charlie Jacobs, Cam Neely, Don Sweeney, as well as Jeff Molson and the representatives from the Montreal Canadiens for being here today. For us, it's a true honor and privilege to host today's press conference, because since Gillette Stadium opened in 2002, we've been fortunate to host many special and memorable events. But I don't think I have ever been more excited or thrilled than when I learned that our friends from the Bruins and the NHL wanted to bring this classic to the stadium. You know, growing up in Boston, you develop an appreciation for the power of sport and the passion that fans have here for all their teams, but especially against their special rivals. The Bruins-Canadian rivalry is as special and intense and that exists like any other rivalry in this region. On a personal note, it is one that first stoked my interest in sports, even though I'm dating myself, in the early 50s, and really was a big part of turning me into a passionate sports fan in this region. By dating myself with this reference, I'll tell you that I remember as a young boy being under the covers of my bed late at night with my transistor radio under the pillows, listening to the likes of Milt Schmidt and Sugar Jim Henry against Boom Boom Geoffrion and Rocket Richard. So, you know, for me, a little kid from Fuller Street in Brookline, listening to those games and then having these two teams come here, it's a great thrill. And you know, the power of this rivalry was also ingrained early on other members of the Kraft family, because I was thinking back to 1980 when Jonathan Kraft on his 16th birthday had only one wish. He wanted to see the Bruins play the Canadians at the Old Forum. We drove from our home up to Montreal and we bought 2 scalp tickets. And I'm a little embarrassed to say that I paid in 1980 over $100 for each of those tickets. And well, I don't know, do you get visiting share on that? I don't. But while the Bruins lost that game, unfortunately, 6-1, Jonathan and I have a great memory of Stan Jonathan's huge takedown in a fight against local boy Chris Nyland of the Canadiens in the third period of the game, and that always stuck with us. What's that, 35 years later. So finally, to underscore the true greatness and uniqueness of this rivalry, no two teams have played each other more often in NHL history. They have had more regular season playoffs and Game 7 matchups than any other two teams. Many of these games have been truly epic and memorable battles, highlighting what makes this sport so great. I'm very optimistic and hopeful that it is what we will have right here on this field on January 1, right out here, and I promise you the temperature will be a little different. Maybe colder than you really want, but once again, it's a great honor for us to host this game. It's actually a great thrill, given where our roots go back to, and I thank all of you for coming, and I think it'll be a very special experience. Thank you very much.
I predate Robert by a few years, so I remember when they played without masks. A lot of people thought I played hockey without a mask. I'd like to also welcome across New England and across the world on NESN, the folks watching on NESN and NHL streaming as well. Okay, so we've heard from Commissioner Bettman and Mr. Kraft. Now we'd like to bring one of the most respected sports business leaders in the world, a man who's been the owner of the Boston Bruins for more than 40 years, serves as chairman and CEO of Delaware North Companies, Mr. Jeremy Jacobs.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I want to thank Bob Kraft for welcoming us here to Gillette Stadium, home of the Super Bowl 36, 38, and 49 champions, your New England Patriots. I want to also thank Commissioner Bettman for bringing the Winter Classic back to Massachusetts and back to the Boston Bruins as the home team, the only team to host this event now twice. This Winter Classic brings to Gillette an original six rivalry that dates back to 1924. No two teams in the NHL have played each other more times than the Canadiens and the Bruins. So it's only fitting that these two teams continue this rivalry on one of NHL's biggest stages. I don't think the NHL could have delivered a better matchup to our fans in New England. This will be an historic Winter Classic, and playing in this magnificent stadium gives us an opportunity to expose so many of our fans to the game of professional hockey in the great outdoors. Finally, I want to thank the Boston Bruins fans. It was their loyalty, enthusiasm, and support that really brought this event back to New England. I'm fully confident that the team will repay that loyalty with a convincing win over our good friends from Montreal. Now, thank you again to Commissioner Bettman and to Bob Kraft for helping to make this happen. I look forward to Gillette being a sea of black and gold on January 1st. Thank you.
I'd like to bring up now a lifelong Montreal Canadiens fan, born and raised in Montreal. Please welcome the owner, the president, and the CEO of the Montreal Canadiens, Mr. Jeff Molson.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup et un bonjour très spécial à nos partisans à Montréal. It was a given that the Montreal Canadiens would invite the Boston Bruins to our centennial game on December 4th, 2009. The rivalry between these two teams, these two original six teams, and historic franchises is like no other in sports. It seems to be an off-season ritual that the Montreal Canadiens and the Boston Bruins meet to battle out a 7-game series in the playoffs. In our 106 years in the NHL, we've played the Boston Bruins 34 times in the playoffs. And our fans and the Boston Bruins fans are very fortunate to have such a great rivalry. Nos partisans sont très fortunés d'avoir une rivalité de telle ampleur. Another historic moment between these two teams is coming on January 1st, 2016, and we're very proud to be part of it, playing a game at Gillette Stadium, home of the 2015 Super Bowl champions. I'd like to sincerely thank the Jacobs family, the Boston Bruins organization, the NHL, and Mr. Kraft for this opportunity. We look forward to seeing you all New Year's Day, and thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
I like the little touch of French there. My wife is part French Canadian, so I learned how to say Dame Wabec and merci. That's the extent of my French Canadian. All right, right now I'd like to bring up a gentleman representing one of the premier global brands in all of sports and the title sponsor of this great event, Mr. Phil Pacey.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you, Gil. I would like to congratulate Commissioner Bettman, the league, and both the Bruins and the Canadiens organization on the announcement of what is sure to be another thrilling outdoor game here in New England. I would also like to express the excitement of the Bridgestone brand and our over 58,000 teammates across the Americas as we look forward to this Original Six matchup. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge and thank you and say welcome to hockey, Mr. Kraft. The 2016 Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic at Gillette Stadium marks the 7th year the Bridgestone brand will serve as the title sponsor of this great event. With each passing year, it continues to excite and impress all of us at Bridgestone. From our first event at Wrigley Field in Chicago to watching the Bruins and the Flyers in overtime at Fenway Park, and a record-setting event at the Big House in 2014. This is a great game that every hockey fan looks forward to, and one that Bridgestone is proud to be involved with. The title sponsorship of the Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic is just one of numerous opportunities the partnership with the NHL provides, and we're honored that the Bridgestone brand will continue to serve as the title sponsor of the NHL Winter Classic and the official tire of the National Hockey League for the next 5 seasons. With this new agreement, we continue to leverage not only the Winter Classic, but our season-long activations in both the United States and Canada to engage fans with a positive impact on the communities where the game is played, and utilize the NHL to showcase our commitment to technology, innovation, and performance. Again, thank you to Commissioner Bettman, the Bruins, the Canadiens, and all fans for your continued support of the Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic, and we look forward to seeing you here on New Year's Day. Thank you very much.
I'd like to bring up a gentleman right now who played 321 games over 8 seasons in the NHL, now serves as a division representative with the National Hockey League Players Association, Mr. Steve Webb.
Thank you, Gil. It's a pleasure being here today representing the NHLPA and all of its members. I'd just like to thank Mr. Kraft for hosting us today, and we definitely look forward to returning here back in January on New Year's Day here in Foxborough. You know, the common theme here seems to be the rivalry between the Bruins, the historic rivalry between the Bruins and the Habs, and it definitely is one of the best in all of sports. The players stepping on the ice that day on New Year's Day will actually have a real good instinct of what that means. The players up here on the stage, the alumni that are here today that have actually participated in these games, definitely understand stepping onto the ice, what type of what the rivalry means, and definitely in the showcase around the Winter Classic and around 70,000 fans being here, this rivalry is going to be taken to a new level. Just thinking about all the young fans, they'll either be enjoying the atmosphere here at Gillette Stadium firsthand, or planting themselves New Year's Eve on their floor in front of the TV. From the national anthem to the final buzzer, they'll be falling in love with our game again and again. And some of the seeds we planted and the dreams will be forming, the dreams of one day maybe being lucky enough to become the next Brian Flynn, Jimmy Hayes, Torrey Krug, or of course Patrice Bergeron. The same way these players did growing up, watching the likes of the greats here today, Ray Bourque, Cam Neely, Don Sweeney, Marc Bergevin, and Yvon Cormier. So thank you to the Boston Bruins, the Montreal Canadiens, Gary Bettman, John Collins, and the entire NHL staff for putting on an event that will further enhance and grow our sport. I know the players and their families from around the league will tune in on New Year's Day, and the players of the Montreal Canadiens and the Boston Bruins look forward to performing in this magical event that is the Winter Classic. Thank you.
Well, I told you we wouldn't keep you in the hot sun for too long, and we won't. Personally, for those of you who will be coming to the game, and I'll be one of them, I kind of hope it snows on that day. Maybe not until the third period, but after the second intermission, some snow would really put a nice touch on it. That concludes the formal part of today's program. We'll now gather everyone on the stage to take a group photo, then head to the field for interview opportunities. Thank you to everyone here and those watching on NESN and around the world via NHL.com. Have a great afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you on New Year's Day here at hopefully frosty Gillette Stadium. Thank you very much.